I will fully admit that I'm not much of a gamer, but one thing I will tell you about games is that the Paper Mario series is awesome. These 4 games rock, with the Thousand Year Door likely being my favorite console game ever. Heck, Paper Mario Sticker Star is the whole reason why I got a 2DS. There's a ton of stuff to like in these games. Great characters, puzzles, humor, gameplay, level design, stories, locations, you name it, and these games have them in spades. I could talk for hours about them, but I'll just limit this video to one topic: the boss battles. These games have some awesome boss fights, true testaments to how good these games really are. Then again, I would be lying if I said there weren't some clunkers here and there. Today we'll begin our journey into looking at all the major boss battles in all 4 games, and to some extent the levels leading up to them. Major bosses include chapter bosses, final bosses, and the main villain throughout most of the game, with no repeats in a single game. Spookily enough, these guidelines give the nice round number of 30. Major spoiler warning. This is going to be a big deal, so let's just get started. It's just such a shame that a good chapter ends with one of the few bosses these games have given us that really left a bad taste in my mouth. Firstly, King Crocus is a truly despicable character. He's the leader of the Floro-Sapiens, a plant tribe. The neighboring tribe of the Cragnons dumps garbage into the river, poisoning the Floro-Sapiens. Does the leader simply tell the Cragnons to cut it out? Of course not! He captures Cragnons and enslaves them. He doesn't even tell them why he's doing it, so how does this fix the problem in any way? I didn't even get the impression that his people liked him. They mourned his death, but they got over it so fast, it was kind of hilarious. The boss battle itself is also very annoying, devolving into a tedious waiting game that isn't fun in the slightest. Then, to top it all, Flint Cragley barges in at the last possible second and takes credit for everything. This is a pretty infuriating moment, I won't lie. Let's just move on so I can stop thinking about it. The boss battle with Lava Piranha takes the limitations of the battle system in these games and exploits them to make things very annoying. You have to use sushi a lot, because fire has always been something hard to work with in these games. Even if you do have the tidal wave move, your flower points will be gone before you know it, and God help you if sushi ever gets hit. Not to mention that this boss is one of those irritating fake deaths that makes this one boss battle more like 2. It's not nearly as annoying as the King Crocus battle, but it's always a fight that I'm glad to get over with. It's like they took how annoying the volcano level was, and then just turn that into a boss battle. Definitely not a fan. In many respects, this boss battle is a lot like the one with Lava Piranha in that it's an annoying and underwhelming end to a rather lackluster level. But where the 5th chapter of Paper Mario was okay until the volcano came, all of Chapter 3 in Sticker Star is annoying. Remember every single time you fell into that poison? You got this thing to thank. Also, like many of the other bosses in this game, it is long, hard, and annoying if you don't have the right sticker. You might be thinking that Gooey Bluey is worse than Lava Piranha, and in a lot of ways it is. However, if you have the sponge sticker, the battle will be over in a hurry. I don't care if it's cheap, I'll take advantage of it, whatever finishes this boss fight quicker. This is one of the cases where the problem is not the boss itself, but what happens in result of the boss. The idea of the villain taking the hero's identity is somewhat interesting, But I forgot that when I had to walk through the forest 7 times trying to figure out the creature's name. This pathway becomes one of the most annoying things in the history of video games. You really try to avoid those daisies, but the pathway is just a little bit too thin, and those daisies are just a little bit too fast, and you will get caught 9 times out of 10. The game forces you to go through this monotony every single time. Even if you know the answer, you can't skip the trip to the castle because one of the letters is missing from the menu. Why is the lowercase p not there? What sense does that even make? As annoying as this is, if it weren't for Dupless, you would never have met Vivian. So I have to give him credit for that. That and that only. Much like Dupless, the idea of Mr. L had potential, but the execution of that idea totally killed it. The reveal that it's really Luigi might have had some impact if it wasn't the most head-bashingly obvious thing in the history of the entire universe. Okay, just go with me here. What if it wasn't clear what happened to Luigi? What if the Mr. L disguise was an actual disguise? What if the hints that Mr. L is Luigi were a little bit more subtle? This would either lead to a shocking discovery if the gamer figures it out on their own, or a shocking reveal if they don't. Instead, all Mr. L ended up being was a kind of annoying boss and an overall just waste of time. Thanks for nothing, game. This is kind of the boss battle equivalent of a fart. It's not pleasant, but you immediately forget about it the instant it is over. Once you enter the area, Petey takes away Kirsty, giving you a handicap for the rest of the level, but not that bad of a handicap. Then you go through a level that's sort of annoying, and then you fight a boss that's sort of annoying, and then you win. Cool story, bro. This boss comes at the end of a very good level, and fits that level pretty well. I also really enjoy the setting of an arena on top of a tower. It's like 2 awesome cliches in one. But there is the takeaway, the fact that the fight is not built up in the slightest, and the boss itself is pretty bland and somewhat annoying. I guess you can't have everything. This boss battle is a decent end to Paper Mario, but sadly it's overshadowed by the other 3 finales. It doesn't play as well as Sticker Star, it doesn't have the complex writing of Super Paper Mario, and it doesn't have the epic scope of the Thousand-Year Door. Nonetheless, there's nothing really wrong with the boss battle itself. It has the appropriate level of difficulty, it's paced well, and is satisfying enough. The issue is that it's just not nearly as ambitious as the other endings. You know, I have mixed feelings about this boss battle. Even the design I'm split on. I can't tell if this is creatively disturbing or just kinda stupid looking. Also, having to follow up Count Bleck puts this boss at a distinct disadvantage. There's also the fact that this is one of those final boss swaps. On one hand, Dementio's betrayal gave Count Bleck a chance to redeem himself, but on the other hand, the developed, interesting villain is replaced with a much flatter character. This makes the ending both very satisfying and somewhat of a makes-it-easy moment. Maybe this is a metaphor for how you're not supposed to expect everything to turn out the way you want it to, or maybe I've just been overanalyzing this the entire time. I can at least respect that the writers took a risk, and the risk sort of paid off. I absolutely loved the Glitz Pit level. It was like part wrestling movie, part film noir, part murder mystery. It was awesome. It was paced well, it was well developed, and had tons of great scenes to it. And I do think that the battle with Grubba is a pretty good finale. I just don't think that it could have lived up to such a great build-up. In all honesty, the battle with Rockhawk was more appropriate of an ending since it fit the tone better. It played like a wrestling finale, with the dirty tricks, the flashiness, and just the fact that it was built up more. If there was a way to make the battle with Grubba more like the one with Rockhawk, it would have been completely awesome, but as is, it's still pretty good. I've always enjoyed the concept of power in numbers when it's used in a boss battle, especially if the parts are generally pretty pathetic. This point is done very well in this fight. I just love how this battle is a great foreshadowing for the power of the royal stickers. It makes it seem like a possession almost. Never have sparkling stickers been so foreboding. This sticker turned the lowly peons that are the Goombas into something that actually puts up somewhat of a fight. However, when you consider how good the other three first bosses were, this one kind of pales in comparison. The third chapter of Paper Mario played out a lot like a Western would. Not only does it take place in an Old West kind of location, but it has the story of a Western as well. Some big bad that seems unstoppable is terrorizing a town, so an outsider comes in and saves the day. As opposed to most of the chapters where the bulk is trying to get to the big bad, this one starts out with the big bad and trying to figure out how to destroy them. And naturally, this unstoppable force is the doofiest thing in the universe. This whole chapter plays out wonderfully, and the final bout with Tubba Blubba is the cherry on top. The incredibly doofy cherry. Trying to fight Huff and Puff is like climbing up a greased mountain that's scrolling downwards like a treadmill. If you hit him at all, rough puffs pop out. You can use Tidal Wave, Starstorm, or other methods to hit all of them at once, and that of course will result in rough puffs popping out because you hit Huff and Puff and they just replace them. If any rough puffs last to the end of the turn, Huff and Puff swallows them all and regains what HP they were worth. It's frustrating, it's repetitive, and it's unrelentingly hard. And this is without a doubt a good thing. Finally, a boss that was hard in a way that doesn't involve 3-digit HP or constant healing or an attack of 10. It requires strategy and forethought. Kudos to the game designers for giving us a hard time in the right way for a change. Toot and Koopa is a great example of a comedic bait and switch. Here we are expecting a powerful being lurking deep within the bowels of this tomb, a ghostly figure guarding the treasure. And then we get this schmo. He looks like a LARPer and not even the cool kind. Bowser has a very bad habit of hiring complete losers. Despite his appearance, he does put up a decent fight. It's creative, has good music, and is just kind of fun. I also get the feeling that Toot and Koopa is a ghost of some kind, which makes his decidedly non-threatening nature even more humorous. Oh well, at least he tried. I'll give him a "You Tried" sticker for consolation. Lord Crump is actually kind of baffling now that I think about it. Grotus seems like he has much more quality control than Bowser, so how did this idiot get into any position of authority? Anyway, you fight Lord Crump 4 times, but both Crystal Star battles are with his robot, Magnus von Grapple. Giant robots make things better, that's just logic. Both of the battles are pretty fun, even the second one, which is actually kind of hard. His robot drills you, steps on you, even fires members of the audience at you via chest cannon. These fights are so ridiculous that they are totally awesome. And with that, we are done with the first 15. Normally these lists are divided into 2 parts, but this time it will have to be 2 separate videos altogether. See you next time for the top 15.